Huh. You're telling me if I get that good at cooking, I can make... You know what? We can do that. Alright, first thing first, we're going to need to talk about ingredients. So let's make a list. Now, this dish is a potato dish at heart, but what type of potatoes are we talking? From the show, it looks like he's using either rustic or small golden potatoes. I'm going to get small golden. Next up, we're going to talk about filling with the potatoes. That's going to be onions and mushrooms. Now, I could go with a Spanish onion, but I'm going to go with a sweet yellow, mostly because I don't want any harsh acidity. That's all going to come from the sauce. Then, with the mushrooms, I'm just going to get some white mushrooms, chop them up. It's going to add some nice umami and meaty flavor. Then, bacon. It's going to be thick-cut bacon, as he says in the show, wrapped around it, with rosemary and thyme on the outside. And the sauce it's served in could just be a red wine reduction, but it looks to me like a demi-glaze, so I'm going to get some beef broth and butter, and I'm going to make a demi-glaze to serve over the top. So let's head out. With all the ingredients that I didn't have on hand taken care of, my total came to $22.06. Now, that's the price for all of the ingredients, and I'm not going to be using the full 10-pound bag of potatoes for this one dish. So, with that out of the way, there's only one thing left to do, get cooking. But first, a segment I like to call, What Was I Listening To That Day?
Should've worshipped her sooner. If the heavens ever did speak, she's the last true mouthpiece. Every Sunday's getting more.
You're welcome for that. Now that we're all settled in the kitchen, first things first, we're gonna need to bring back the music. Ah, that's better. Second, what am I wearing today? Blue, black, or white? I'm feeling blue. So on it goes. It's always a good idea to go ahead and wash your potatoes because, as we know, potatoes grow on trees and trees are very dirty. I'm going to go ahead and equip my kitchen towel. And next up is my knife. Oh, and that's upside down. Let's give it another try. And oh, beautiful. Now, which knife am I going to use today? It's going to be a chef knife, but between my 10 and my 5-inch chef knife, I'm going to go with my 5-inch knife. We're dealing mostly with vegetables anyway. I'm also going to grab my paring knife and my honing steel. Paring knife is always good to have on hand, and ching ching, I just like the sound of the honing steel. I'm going to go ahead and put this away, because we're going to need all the room we're going to have. Now, Soma quarters his potatoes. I'm going to take the green off mine, but I'm also going to quarter them as well. And in the show, he specifies that he's steaming his potatoes instead of boiling them. So go ahead and grab your pot of choice. I'm more of an edible man myself. And throw in your steamer basket. Here's a little Linus Tech tip for you. If you put a lid on it, it'll boil faster. Next up for the inside, I'm going to only use half an onion because for the single portion. I'm going to go ahead and use my bench scraper. Clean kitchen is a happy kitchen. And I'm going to go ahead and mince this onion. Now we're going to need somewhere to put this onion, so go ahead and grab a 10-inch saute pan and throw it on in there. We're going to want to try and get as much water out of these onions as possible, so go ahead and crank it on a medium heat. Next up is the mushrooms. I'm only going to use about half the mushrooms, give it another rinse, because as we know, mushrooms also grow on trees, and trees are very dirty. So go ahead and mince up this flat of mushrooms. Now we've got a hot stove behind us, so make sure everything's going well and nothing's burning. Go ahead and give your onions a little chef toss if you're feeling adventurous, but we all know it doesn't really do anything except make ourselves feel better. Once your mushrooms are broken down enough, go ahead and grab your saute pan and add them to the party. They also need to cook down to release a lot of moisture. Go ahead and check your potatoes at this point too. See if a paring knife will pierce them. If not, add some more water and keep them cooking. Go ahead and add some salt and pepper to your mushrooms and onions. It'll add some flavor as well as draw some moisture out. Now let's talk spices. I'm going to go ahead and peel the leaves off the thyme. No one likes stems in there. And rosemary, I'm going to do the same thing. Gonna go ahead and give these a fine chop because this is going inside of our mushroom and onion mixture and I don't want to be pulling bits of rosemary out of my teeth. Since our spice mixture is already out, let's go ahead and grab a bowl and break off and cut off some chunks that we can attach to our roast when it's roasting in the oven. Now, our onions and mushrooms are looking pretty good, but I want a well-rounded flavor of meatiness, so I'm going to go ahead and add some beef broth, and then I'm going to struggle to try and get this bottle of wine open. I have this fancy schmancy decorking device that's like a bicycle pump. Let's see it. Ooh, perfect. I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit of this, because we don't want to reconstitute our mushrooms and onions. We just want the flavor and depth of flavor that the wine will bring. Let's talk roasting. I'm going to grab a wire rack and put it on a pan, because I want air circulating around this entire roast. Gonna go ahead and give a chef toss to our mushrooms and onions and take a taste. And do you guys want to taste too? Oh, here you go. Oh, you guys are silly. That's not there yet. Gonna go ahead ahead and season a little bit to taste. And I'm going to go ahead and take them off the heat. Now it's time for the demi-glaze. I'm going to add 1 part wine and 1 part beef stock, and I'm just going to let that reduce. The potatoes are looking good, so I'm going to take them off the heat, give them a cool rinse in water so I can handle them, and peel them. Now, I don't understand why this is done. It's being steamed, so it's not like you're losing any of the nutrients to the water while it's boiling, but I do as the show commands. With that task out of the way, I'm going to add the mushrooms and onions to our potatoes and give it a good mash. We're going to want a uniform consistency here. Now this might be a little bit tough, but go ahead and work out all your childhood frustration on there. Now, if I were making mashed potatoes, I would add cream and butter to help loosen it up and give it a better mouthfeel. But I'm going to add some beef broth here instead to just add more to the meaty flavor. Going to go ahead and give it a taste and realize that it needs a bunch of salt and pepper. In the meantime, our demi-glaze is looking pretty good. We're going to go ahead and take about 3 tablespoons of butter, and we're going to mount it in. It is cold butter, so it emulsifies into the sauce, and make sure you spill a lot of the sauce everywhere. Yep, perfect. Oh, once, twice, and at this point we're just going to give up and shake the butter in. Once that's contributed, we can go back to the potatoes. So we're going to lay some cling wrap down. I'm going with 2 layers here. And we're going to go ahead and spoon all of the potatoes out onto it. We're going to try and create a log of sorts. Let's go and take our cling film and wrap it up. Not that loose. Perfect. But roll it up so it stays nice and tight. I'm going to add 1 more layer on top. And then this is going to go into the freezer until we're ready for it. Our demi-glaze is looking perfect, so I'm going to go ahead and take it off the heat and put it in a bowl for later. Now, I'm going to slap on a different cutting board here so I don't have to clean mine. Because as we know, foodborne illness is a major problem, and raw pork on the cutting board that I use to cut vegetables might be a problem. So go ahead and lay this, and it's on the other cutting board. This is just a complete waste of time. Well, with that out of the way, might as well just weave this bacon. So don't be like me, weave your bacon, don't do whatever I'm doing here because I'm an idiot that doesn't know how to make a bacon weave. With your bacon all woven, go ahead and retrieve your mushroom, potato, onion mixture out of the freezer and wrap the bacon around it. Then go ahead and grab your butcher twine and tie up your meat package. Meat package. It doesn't have to be pretty. All it has to do is hold your meat package together. So go ahead and tie it up. And tie it down. Then go ahead and slap that on your wire rack, seam side down. And retrieve your herbs and sprinkle them over and tuck it in. Now at this point your oven should be preset to 425 degrees. My camera cut out at this point, but I put it in there for 40 minutes. Afterwards, oh, look at those feet. But really the roast should be done at this point. Go ahead and check it, let it rest for a second, and retrieve everything. You're going to need your demi-glaze, a plate, and a perfectly suitable carving knife. Go ahead and make sure your clean clinkers are working. Yep. And desuture your meat package. You're also going to want to brush off all the herbs on the outside. They are burnt and will just taste horrible. So for plating, go ahead and slap it on your plate. Realize that Soma had a pool of demi-glaze at the bottom, so go ahead and take it off. Pour on a pool of demi-glaze. Slap it on top, and then take a grill brush and brush it down with the demi-glaze so it's nice and glistening. Go ahead and take a clean kitchen towel, dampen it, and wipe off the edges because you're an ape and don't know self-control. And there you go. That's Soma's Gotcha Pork Roast from Shokugeki no Soma, Episode 1. But that's not how I would present it. So go ahead and take it off, and go ahead and start slicing it up. Make sure that everything's cooked. It is. And realize that this doesn't work, so go ahead and grab a serrated knife and cut it into clean strips. Go ahead and pick out your best looking 3 strips, and on a new plate, go ahead and present it on up. Take the back of the knife, smooth everything out so it looks nice and chefy. Then grab your demi-glaze, and then a spoon to do your perfect chef smear. Go ahead and lay it all down, and that looks horrible. So give up on that idea and just fill it in. Then go ahead and sprinkle some on top. And there you go. That's how I would do it. At least present it. Now, here's the main fault with this dish. If we add up the total amount it costs to make that plate, considering wine, butter, the bacon, everything, we get a cost of $14.59. Now, say Soma isn't the most shrewd businessman, so he's not trying to turn a profit to keep his restaurant running, he's just trying to get reimbursed for it. So he's not using the 30% rule to figure out for how much he should charge for this dish. The 30% rule being you take the cost of your ingredients and divide it by 0.3 to get a total of how much you should charge for that dish to cover the ingredients, labor, overhead, utility of running a restaurant. No, say he's just trying to get reimbursed for the ingredients and the utilities it took to do the cooking. So he divides it by 0.65. He still gets a total cost of this dish being $22.45. Now, this dish was good. I'd say that I'd make it again. But I would be appalled if I ordered it in a restaurant and was charged $22.45 for it. Alrighty, thank you for watching to the end. Go ahead and pop down in the comments, let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, and keep an eye out for my next video in the future. We'll be doing more Shokugeki no Soma recipes, so I'll see you next time.